Hello everyone. Well, today we're doing the turbo. Here we go. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so you guys can see I removed that, meaning the fake firewall with this first. So you remove the clips from the cover on the top, obviously, and then remove the covers for the windshield wipers, and then remove the nut. I believe it's a 15 millimeter nut. You remove that and then just wiggle it. It comes right off. From here, you just kind of pull it here and then push on it here, and it comes off from the wipers. I'm talking about those right there. And then just pull the top off, but you got to make sure you remove these. They're clips. Get a flathead screwdriver and just press on them and remove them on both sides, and then the top part comes off. Then next, the firewall. This was a little pain to do, a little bit, I gotta admit. First you gotta take the plastic screws, which look like these right there. You gotta take them off, separate this metal part from here. Well, that's what I did, at least. I don't know the right way to do it, but hey, that's what I did. And then this kind of sits in like that right there. So you take those off, you separate this from here, and then you will need to unscrew 8 millimeter screws, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and 3 here on the driver's side. And then it will allow you to move this out, to wiggle this out, because this inserts on the bottom. Actually, no, what am I talking about? Yeah, actually, I'm right. Yeah, this inserts on the bottom, so you just pull it out. So right here, you take those 8 millimeter screws out, or nuts, from here to 2 here and 3 here, and then they will allow it to pull this out. Then you gotta you took all those plastic ones off from where you can see, and then you're gonna have to feel it out on the bottom over here. You're gonna have one of these. You take that off and then just put your hand underneath here and just push away, and then just kind of move it out, wiggle it out. I had to kind of play with it a little bit. So this is, I mean, you're pretty straightforward. Once you start doing it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, to get that out from here. So once I got that out, as you can see, I have a lot of room. I am gonna replace the oil trap while I'm at it, but I have not yet. You can see, I can see the turbo, so I should have no problem getting it off. I'll probably have to take off the downpipe first, get the O2 sensor out, and then everything else is pretty straightforward. So as long as I don't strip any bolts or break them off the exhaust manifold and exhaust manifold shield, I should be good to go. So yeah, challenging part, I would say this fake firewall, separating that from that, and then getting this out first, and then getting that out was a little tricky. I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's just a little tricky. You have to play around with it a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty easy, besides those little things that you got to separate, these right here. So yeah, we're ready to take out the turbo. I'm gonna get some what do you call it, one of these stuff, the penetrating fast acting WD-40 fluid, sprays the bolts, all the rusted bolts that I see. I'm gonna spray them, let them sit for a little bit, and I'm gonna start taking it out. I might have to remove the ECM. I'm gonna have to unbolt it, probably move it out of the way, because this will give me a little more space. Maybe not, because there's still AC pipe there, but I should be able to take stuff out from here, hopefully. I'm gonna probably take the downpipe off, then the turbo off, and then exhaust manifold. Do those steps, so that way I don't have a big chunk trying to move it around. So I'll just do step by step, and then in installing it, I'm gonna do reverse, put the exhaust manifold on, the turbo, and then the downpipe. So yeah, let's get it. Okay, so as you guys can see, I got the shield off. The shield, to get the shield off, you guys gonna have to unbolt the coolant line that goes to the turbo. You're gonna have to unbolt this coolant line rail. There's 2 bolts. I'll hold on a second. That pretty much hold this rail together, which is this bracket right here, and then the one on there. I believe it's like 15 millimeter socket. You just unbolt it, so allow you to move it, so you can access the shield bolts. They're 10 millimeter shield bolts from this metal shield right here that goes on top of the exhaust manifold. And then once you unbolt this and take the O2 sensor out, you can take the shield out. It will give you enough room to wiggle it out. I got it out pretty easy after I got that. And then now I unbolted the downpipe from this side on the turbo side, and then I'm gonna lift the car up, take the downpipe, unbolt it from there, from the cat back, and then just take it out completely. Then we'll proceed to taking out the turbo after that, and then the manifold. Okay, so we're underneath now. Got the downpipe out. This is the KT4 downpipe with the high flow cat. As you can see, it's all 3.5 inch all the way through. And then up there, obviously I got it loose before I lifted it, and we had to get this bracket out, and then this cross member that goes from here to here. So to this bracket that has the hangers, and then this one also that goes from one side to another side of the car underneath. So 2 brackets off, which are these right here, this one and then that one there. So you get those 2 out, that'll let you angle the downpipe in a way that you can get it out. So yeah. All right, as you can see, the turbo is out. Okay, so one thing to note, you will have to get all the studs out from the exhaust manifold. You will have to get, let me see here, let me give you a size right away so you guys know. This is 5mm, I believe. Hold on. Yep, 5.5 actually, 5.5mm socket. And you will need to get these exhaust studs out. You may get the nuts out first, but you will need this exhaust stud out from the manifold to clear the turbo. The turbo, I probably could have pulled it out from the top. There's enough room. I pulled it out through the bottom pretty easily too. Over here on this side of the drive shaft, that's the front of the vehicle. So fairly easily wiggled it out, you know, I didn't struggle. But yeah, you obviously get the oil feed line, the coolant lines, both of them off. And once I got the studs out, it came out pretty easily. Obviously unplug your GFB diverter, the diverter valve, unplug that, don't forget that. And yeah, now we're gonna have to get the exhaust manifold out, which is probably gonna be pretty easy. From the top, I already sprayed the bolts and nuts or whatever with the penetrating lubricant, so it should be nice and loose right now. So yeah, now we're gonna get that out. But the turbo is out. I'm gonna also, in a second, I'm gonna show you guys a comparison of the turbo, how they look in a minute. So yeah, after I get the exhaust manifold out, I'm probably gonna show you a quick comparison between the two, like the wheels, the intake, the exhaust side, and then everything else. And then also with the manifold also, I'm gonna compare the manifold. Okay, so I got all the bolts loose from the exhaust manifold, but over there, 1, 2, second row from the driver's side, the bottom stud I'm missing completely. I don't know if it's not supposed to be there, but I'm missing the stud, the spacer, and the nut. But I got all of these out. This is 13mm, so I just broke it loose with the ratchet, and then the rest of them I just got it with this little handy tool. So yeah, now I'm gonna take out the exhaust manifold. But yeah, that kind of sucks. Hopefully I don't have to wait too long to get these, because this will, oh, I'm gonna have to somehow find some studs. I have one stud in the new turbo, in the turbo itself, but hopefully that one works. And then for the spacer, I'll just make something up. All right, well, every job is without its hiccups. As you guys can see right there, there's one of the exhaust studs right there is broken. Somebody snapped it at some point. When I was doing it, it was not there. I don't know, maybe when my torque mount went bad and the engine was shifting, maybe snapped it. I don't know. But anyways, I did not have any exhaust leak. There's no marks on the exhaust gasket or that. So I'm just gonna say screw it. Right now, I don't want to mess with it. I'm gonna just clean it off, and since it wasn't leaking, and a lot of the studs were not even that tight, and it still wasn't leaking, so I think we should be fine. We got two pretty close to each other. That third one would be nice, but hey, it is what it is. It wasn't leaking, so I think it will be fine. It just, I don't have the time right now to fix it, but the exhaust stud, I don't think it needs to be fixed as soon as possible, because that's broken. I mean, worst case scenario, I have to do the job twice, but I don't think it will come to that. So So you can see the exhaust manifold gasket. There was no leaks of any kind on each one, so that is good. So we're just gonna assemble it back up, because if I try to weld that thing, try to get it out, I may cause more damage, since they tightened it. They didn't even tighten it that good, and they still didn't leak. So this time I'm gonna make sure it's all torqued. I'm gonna probably just get a torque spec and actually torque it, and yeah, and we'll call it good. It should be good to go. But yeah, let's go to a comparison, the turbo and the exhaust manifold. Oh, okay, so here, I mean, it's a little smoother. They got a little edge on the turbo side. Now let's compare here. Oh boy, that's a lot larger. Look at that, where that was hitting. Man, that's like literally a good quarter inch, if not more, on that. You see that? And over here they grinded that all that down, or ported it. Look at that. Look at the difference in holes. This is the whole hole. Okay, as you guys can see, it's a huge difference where it attaches to the engine. You can see that right there is flat. That's like a good quarter inch, and over here it's just go straight in, so that's gonna be way better flow. Not so much on the turbo side, but here from the engine, man, oh man, that's a huge difference. Look at that. Like, you guys see that? Humongous difference. I'm actually really happy with the porting. That's actually pretty nice. Okay, quick update. So on the exhaust manifold, pretty much the second row, there's the first row, second row, lower one. On this side, an exact same spot, second row bottom. From the outside, one is broken. I don't know, but judging, where's the exhaust manifold? Here. You know, it has to move. Like, you can see there's cuts on this exhaust manifold. So I'm guessing it fluctuates when it heats up. It has to expand and compress. And if I replaced those broke in the head, both of them. One fell out. I even unscrewed it and it was already broken. Like, let me show you. Where is it? Right here. Like, you can see right here, it was already broken before I even took it off. You can see it's old metal, old, like dirty, and just this little piece right here that was always holding on by. So it was kind of loose already over time, I think, from expansion. So if I, you know, try to take the, you know, the piece in the head off and I put a new one in there, if it breaks it again, I mean, it's just pointless. So like I said, I'm gonna watch it for the few couple weeks, and make sure there's no exhaust leak, because there was none this time around. You know, when it was broken already, I checked, there was no signs of exhaust leak, so hopefully I won't have any either. But there's 2 bolts here, 2 here, 1 here, so these are the only ones that are missing. And then we have obviously 2 in the center, and then 2 here, 2 here, and 1 here, and that one is the one that's broken. So that one, and then that one there. Oh wow, can you guys see that difference right here? Look at that, how puny this original one is and how huge this thing looks in comparison. Like, that's wow. That's like so this turbo is, here's the specs. The specs on this turbo are pretty much, it's compared to like on par with the 60 trim turbo. Compressor wheel is about T3, T4 hybrid, and exhaust side is 52 to 55 pounds. And I'll show you right now. I'll flip this over let's do that without breaking anything. Let's see if we can notice the same difference on the exhaust side. Oh yeah, wow. Like, let me see, I don't want to drop it. Right there, there's that, and there's this. I don't think you can see it simultaneously, but man, I wouldn't say it's double, but like, man, it's noticeable. I'm pretty sure the spool time on the new one is going to be slower because it got less propellers, but they're much larger. On this one, the wheel is smaller, but a lot more propellers. So yeah, this thing is huge inside compared to the original one. For those of you that are wondering what I'm putting on the new turbo, obviously I got the Turbo Smart Elevate ECRV. So that's gonna be a new one. I had originally I had this GFB diverter valve with the electrical part OEM. It was running fine. I didn't have any issues, but I didn't want to risk it with the stage 3, so I got myself the Elevate ECRV. And then obviously, again, all of you guys that watch my channel know that I upgraded the wastegate, so I'm going to swap the wastegate and put it on the new turbo also. Okay, so I got this wastegate on, and if you guys remember from my wastegate video install on the old one, the preload is you mark this and it's 2 full turns. I did 3 because almost every guy that I talked to after wastegate install or after turbo swap, Hilton kept telling them to do an extra turn, so I did pretty much 3, so a little more than what Elevate quote states. So yeah, we're gonna go with that, and hopefully I won't have to make any more turns because it's kind of pain to get to once everything is assembled. So yeah, got that on, got the ECRV on, and we're ready to put in. Okay, let's give an update. So where am I installed the drain tube. The drain tube wasn't quite lining up. I thought maybe I bent it first, then I was like, hold on a second, let me check the top. So I checked the top, the oil feed line, and then these ones, and this top one wasn't lining up also. I couldn't get it to line up to that, so I was like, yeah, that's probably the turbo centerpiece that's not lined up. So I messaged Turbo Bay. He's like, hey, loosen the C-clamp, I think that's what it's called. There's a 10mm bolt or nut right there. You loosen that clamp, and then I just tapped with my hands on the intake side. I did not touch these screws. I just tapped on the actual housing, on the intake side housing, and then I twisted it how much I needed it, and everything's good now. So that was a little hiccup, and everything I torqued. The turbo to exhaust manifold bolts, I torqued them to 30 Newton meters, which is like 22 or 23 foot-pounds. And then exhaust manifold is 25 Newton meters, which is like 18, I think, foot-pounds. So I got those torqued also. So there's the one, you guys probably can see that one missing there. There's 2 there, there's 1 here, 1 missing, and then there's 2 more here. And then the same thing on that side. There's 6 in the center, and then that 1 missing, and then 2 on the edge. So anyways, yeah, there was exact same ones on each side, so I'm sure the exhaust manifold moves enough to where it breaks those, so I didn't bother. There was no leaks. It was already broken on both sides. There was no leaks, so I'm gonna leave it alone. So yeah, the turbo is mounted right now. It's torqued. The drain pipe is mounted. Now next I'm gonna attach the coolant lines. I'm gonna probably reuse the gaskets because they're this style and they don't look to be too crushed. So I'm just gonna reuse it since it's like this, it's like connected. The new ones are not, so worst case scenario, if they leak, I'll just replace them, but I'm gonna reuse the old ones. When you're down here, you can assemble the lower one, the lower coolant lines. You can put the drain pipe for the oil, but do not assemble that one. Leave that one alone. And the top one also actually. Okay, what's up you guys again? I don't know, it's a different day for me. In the video, it's gonna be one solid video. Where did we end last time? Okay, let's see here. So I already got the turbo on there, as you can see, all the coolant lines, and then I got the oil feed line attached, the oil drain pipe on the bottom attached, down pipe, everything on the bottom pretty much is done. I put the O2 sensor in, and right now what I'm doing is I'm going to swap the oil trap, because you want to replace these let me see, every about around 100,000 miles, because if this gets plugged, it will start blowing oil through your seals and you will have oil leaks. So I'm a little over 870, so I'm here, so why not do it? You know, I don't have to worry about it for another 100k miles. So yeah, I'm gonna replace this really quick, and then after that, I mean, I have intake piping, the wipers, pretty much just the covers, and then that pipe here to put on. But yeah, let's see here. So on this pipe, usually people say to, I don't know, put a metal pipe here where it attaches to the turbo because it collapses under boost, but mine seems like it has a reinforcement here. Like if you see my hand, my finger, it stops right there. There's some sort of reinforcement, so it's kind of hard. I don't know how they had collapsing issues. I mean, here is so much softer. If that's not where it collapses, I mean, I don't see what's the point of doing it here, because this is a whole lot stronger than here. So I don't know, I think I'm gonna leave it. I don't know, because this is, I don't see a point, to be honest, of messing with this, because it's reinforced. It's also, I think, reinforced right here too, pretty much on every bend. Yeah, that one here, and here too, actually, where it attaches to the intake piping on the top, because that's how it sits right there in the engine. So yeah, this is reinforced, so I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna just install this and yeah, call it good, and then just put all, oh yeah, the fake firewall, I gotta put that back also. Okay, so I thought I update you guys of how to do these firewalls. So it looks like you have to remove the metal pretty much to install. You put the metal first and then you put this in. So I'm guessing, I told you guys that you have to remove this, but when I removed it, I removed it partially. I couldn't find this piece here. I don't know where the bolt, I never had that. I don't know where that went. Maybe at some point I did it, I removed it. But here it has one of these. I couldn't get this out because this was in place. It was on the screw like that. So I pretty much undid all of these around, moved it out of the way, unscrewed this, pulled this out, and then I was able to locate that. So to make your life easier when you get these plastic ones all around, put your hand there and then unscrew this with your hand, or pull it off, you can, and then it will, and then if you can stick your hand in there and just kind of pry it out, it will let you access let you take this out first. But worst case scenario, if you can't access one of these, just undo all of these around, these plastic ones, get them out of the way, move it out of the way, unscrew the rest of the bolt from the metal one, pull the metal one out, and then you'll have easier access to pull that out. So, but installing it, you put this in first, you screw it in, and then we'll stick that one in, since we know how it came out pretty much. So I know there's some threads people said to, you know, I recently commented when I posted my first video, people say, oh, you should have done this, you should have researched. Well, I don't care. I mean, I have mechanical experience, so I kind of figured it out. That's what you do when you're a mechanic. You have to figure stuff out sometimes. You're not going to get answers all the time. So and I'm probably one of the first guys that started posting on these cars. Now, there wasn't much videos when I started working on this car, so I kind of was learning and helping others. So right now probably there's more, but yeah, either way, we'll screw this in, put that in, and then after that we'll just I'll put the oil trap on, I'll screw it on, and then yeah, and then we'll start putting the wipers and everything on, and then we'll do a start video. I'm not gonna rev it or anything, because you really don't want to do that when you put a new turbo on it. And then we'll fill up coolant also. I have to go pick up coolant, damn it. Okay, I changed my mind on that. I put the oil trap first because when I start putting the fake firewall on, it's a little difficult to get to the back bolts, and I don't want to use the wobblies and all that. It's a little difficult. So it's still possible. It's not crazy hard, but it is difficult enough for me to take the firewall out again, pull it out. I didn't screw it in yet, and then put this on, and I'm going to put the firewall back in. And then I could reach through here to where I need to reach, so I have plenty of space. So yeah, I'll put the oil trap on first. Okay, let's try to start it. I can't rev, remember I have a bigger turbo now, but let's start it up and see what it does. Didn't start. Well, it did start, but it just shut back off. Okay guys, so you know how, you know, a car, when you start it up, it revs up. When it started revving up, like, you know, just a little over 1,000 RPM, it just brr, 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 and it just kind of shut off. The second time, like as soon as it started, I put it in gear, so it shut the RPM down. And even in low RPM, I kept it in a low RPM, and it was, I could hear the turbo like it's whistling, like, and then the car still burp, 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 like it did not want to work. Like this car is just, it sounded like it was cammed almost. But Man, yeah, I ain't starting this anymore. Like I started just for a little bit, but it shouldn't technically, it shouldn't, you know, it shouldn't really affect too much, especially when I'm stage 2 tuned. So with the turbo, it usually affects when you give it some gas, you know, when you put boost to it. But in this instance, like, it's having a hard time even idling. Like, you can hear the turbo. Oh man, this is exciting. Anyways, this is gonna be it for today's video. It's probably gonna be a long one. I'm gonna try to edit stuff out. So if I get some extra stuff, I'll probably delete it. But either way, it starts. It runs not so good. It doesn't want to run. So I'm not going to try to start it. I'm going to wait for the first flash tune to even be able to run it. So I can at least idle it. And then I'll be logging and tuning with the Hilton. But yeah, that whistle. I love that whistle. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any questions, comment in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. And as usual, see you next time. Peace.